If you're someone who just loves that feeling of freedom you get from open water swimming, but you're also kind of worried about what it's doing to your shoulders, then this is for you. We're going to dive into some fantastic university research and turn it into a practical, science-backed guide to keep you in the water, swimming strong and pain-free for years. So, let's get right into it.
It really does all start with this feeling, doesn't it? That amazing connection with nature, the rhythm of your stroke, that sense of just absolute freedom. That's the magic that pulls so many of us into lakes and oceans every single day.
But here's the thing. With every single one of those powerful strokes, there's a potential cost. The very motion that gives us that freedom puts this incredible, repetitive strain on one of the most complex joints in our entire body. So what is that hidden cost, and what can we actually do about it?
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the thread itself, then dig into the science behind why it hurts. From there, we'll get into the good stuff, how to build resilient shoulders, use smarter strokes, and better recovery. And finally, lay out a clear path to keep you swimming for life.
First up, let's meet the #1 villain of our story, the dreaded swimmer shoulder. It's hands down the most common injury in the sport, and really understanding what it is, well, that's the first step to beating it.
Right. So the key thing to get is that swimmer shoulder isn't just one thing. It's really a catch-all term for conditions caused by that repetitive overhead motion. Just picture the tissues inside your shoulder, especially your rotator cuff, getting pinched and irritated over and over, which leads to inflammation and pain.
All right, let's play detective for a minute. Why is this so incredibly common? Let's dig into what the science and biomechanics actually tell us about why a swimmer's shoulder is just so vulnerable to begin with. Well, the numbers tell a pretty stark story. Get this, a study found that for non-elite open water swimmers, a whopping 51% of all injuries happen in the shoulder. It's not just a risk, it's the #1 risk. And if you think that's high, just look at the competitive swimmers. Up to 91% of them report dealing with shoulder problems every single year. So no, this isn't some minor issue. It's a massive, almost universal challenge for anyone who really commits to the sport. So why? What's going on? A huge piece of the puzzle is a fundamental muscle imbalance. The research is clear. The big, powerful muscles that pull your arm forward and across your body, your internal rotators, can get up to 30% stronger than the smaller muscles on the outside. That imbalance literally pulls the joint out of whack and leads directly to that painful pinching. And it turns out there are some pretty clear culprits. Things like suddenly cranking up your yardage, having a dropped elbow in your stroke, those weak stabilizing muscles we just talked about, a past injury, and of course, the unique stresses of open water, like constantly sighting. All of these can dramatically up your risk. Okay, enough of the doom and gloom. Let's pivot to the solution, because there's great news here. The science is incredibly clear that we can get ahead of this. We just need a solid, proactive plan for strength and smarter training.
Let's start with a really cool tool from sports science, but we'll make it simple. It's called the acute to chronic workload ratio, and the golden rule is this number, 1.3. Basically, you compare this week's training load to your average over the last month. If that ratio creeps above 1.3, your injury risk just skyrockets. The bottom line? Progress nice and slow.
And that brings us to the power of targeted strength work. A really fascinating recent trial pinpointed 5 key exercises. When subjects did them just twice a week, it was proven to restore that muscle balance and slash injury risk. Think of these as your foundational 5 for healthy shoulders. So let's make this super practical. External rotations. This is the exercise that directly targets those weaker stabilizing muscles we were just talking about. By lying on your side or just using a simple band, you can wake up and strengthen the exact muscles you need to fight back against that powerful swimming stroke. It's so simple, but wow, is it effective? But look, strength is only half the battle, right? What you do in the water, and just as importantly, what you do after you get out, is absolutely critical. So now let's look at how smarter technique and better recovery are really your best defense. Okay, this is basically your cheat sheet for quick fixes in the water. The #1 flaw by far is that dropped elbow. If you focus on a high elbow catch instead, you immediately create more space in the shoulder joint. A good body roll helps share the workload, and breathing to both sides, well, that just keeps everything balanced. And hey, this isn't just theory. The biomechanical data is amazing. Making these kinds of technical fixes isn't a small tweak. It can reduce the actual pinching forces inside your shoulder by a massive 25%. That is a huge payoff for focusing on your technique. And then there's recovery. This is where your body actually repairs itself and gets stronger. It means daily stretching to keep your mobility, foam rolling, getting enough sleep, that's a big one, and giving your shoulders a break with some smart cross-training. So, we have all the pieces of the puzzle. Smart training loads, targeted exercises, better technique, and dedicated recovery. Now, let's put it all together into a clear, actionable blueprint you can literally start using today.
Here's what it looks like over 12 weeks. In the first month, you're just building the foundation, focusing on technique and starting those 5 key exercises twice a week. In the second month, you build on that and keep a really close eye on that 1.3 training ratio. And by the final month, you're getting stronger and checking in on your mobility. It's a structured path to bulletproofing your shoulders.
And this is really the whole point. This isn't just about avoiding an injury this season. It's about building a body that can support your passion for a lifetime, so you can keep enjoying that freedom in the water for decades to come.
We've laid out the science-backed playbook. You now have the tools that researchers have spent years figuring out. So really, the only question left is, how are you going to put them into practice to protect that amazing feeling you get out on the water?
The power of everything we just went over comes directly from rigorous, university-led research. If you want to explore more incredible, real-world learnings from some of the best academic minds out there, you should definitely check out academicjobs.com.